Welcome back to the channel, Cowboys Nation. Things are heating up in Dallas as we roll into the mid-season stretch, and right now, the rumor mill is absolutely on fire. The Cowboys are once again at the center of a flurry of trade buzz, and this time, the names being floated around are massive. We're talking about big-time defensive names, including some shocking speculation involving Trevon Diggs, linebacker Logan Wilson from the Bengals, and even edge rusher Maxx Crosby from the Raiders. NFL insiders have been feeding a storm of reports suggesting that Dallas could be preparing for a bold move that would completely reshape the team's identity heading into the latter half of the season. Let's dive deep into everything being reported, what could actually happen, and how it could impact the Cowboys' playoff hopes and long-term strategy. First off, let's start with Trevon Diggs. Yes, you heard that right. Trevon Diggs, the Cowboys' superstar corner, has been the center of unexpected trade chatter following his season-ending injury last year and his slow ramp-up this season. NFL insiders have suggested that while Dallas remains committed to Diggs, some front office voices are quietly exploring ways to free up cap space and retool the roster. It's no secret that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are constantly evaluating long-term roster construction, and with Diggs having signed a massive extension, his name naturally comes up in conversations when discussing high-value assets. Sources close to the organization have hinted that Dallas has received calls, not that they're making them, but when teams around the league sense a window to poach talent, they make inquiries. Still, trading a cornerstone like Diggs seems extremely unlikely unless something major were to be offered in return. Think a combination of high draft capital and an elite defensive lineman. Now, the second major name creating waves is Logan Wilson, the Cincinnati Bengals' talented linebacker. The Cowboys have reportedly been monitoring his situation closely. The Bengals' defense has been inconsistent this year, and with Wilson's contract and Cincinnati's need to manage future cap space, it's possible that Wilson could become available if the right offer appears. For Dallas, this would be a perfect fit. The linebacker core has been tested with injuries and inconsistent play, especially following the season-ending ACL tear to DeMarvion Overshown last year, and the constant shuffling of roles between Marquise Bell and Damone Clark. Wilson's instincts, tackling ability, and leadership could immediately stabilize the middle of the defense. Insiders believe that Dan Quinn, known for valuing versatile linebackers who can both cover and blitz, would absolutely love to have Wilson in his system. The idea of pairing Micah Parsons with a proven field general like Wilson is exactly the kind of move that could elevate this defense from good to elite. But the biggest name, the one that's caught everyone's attention, is Maxx Crosby, Raiders defensive end. Monster of a pass rusher. Absolute menace off the edge. Reports from multiple NFL insiders have suggested that the Cowboys are one of several teams quietly keeping tabs on the situation in Las Vegas, where frustration and uncertainty have been building. The Raiders' struggles this season have left players like Crosby frustrated with the lack of direction, and his cryptic social media posts have only fueled speculation. While there's no official confirmation that he's on the block, the reality is that if the Raiders decide to blow things up and rebuild, Crosby would be one of the most valuable pieces they could move. And here's the thing: Jerry Jones loves stars. He's never shied away from going after big names, and pairing Parsons with Crosby would create arguably the scariest pass rushing duo in the NFL. Imagine opposing quarterbacks trying to survive with those two coming at them from both sides. It's a dream scenario for Cowboys fans and a nightmare for everyone else. Of course, making a move for someone like Crosby wouldn't come cheap. The Cowboys would need to part with multiple high draft picks, and possibly even a starter or two. The team is currently tight against the cap, but restructuring contracts and extending key players could open up the flexibility needed to absorb a star-level salary. There's also the question of whether Dallas is truly ready to push all their chips in for a Super Bowl run this year. After all, the window is wide open. Dak Prescott has been playing with more control and composure this season, CeeDee Lamb has reasserted himself as one of the top receivers in the league, and the offensive line has found stability with the return of Tyron Smith and the emergence of rookie Cooper Beebe, who has been everything Dallas hoped for and more. The defense remains the team's identity, but Jerry Jones has said it repeatedly: he's willing to make a bold move if it means getting over the hump. As for Trevon Diggs, the reality is this: the Cowboys know what they have in him. He's one of the few corners in the league capable of locking down top receivers and generating turnovers at a high rate. However, with the emergence of Darren Bland, who has been sensational filling in and has now become one of the league leaders in interceptions, some insiders wonder if Dallas could view Diggs as expendable if it meant landing a truly transformative player elsewhere. Still, this scenario feels more like smoke than fire. Jerry and Stephen Jones have both emphasized their belief in building around homegrown stars, and Diggs is very much part of that core along with Parsons, Lamb, and Prescott. But in today's NFL, especially with how volatile trade talks can be, nothing is ever completely off the table. The Cowboys' biggest challenge right now is depth and balance. They have star power on defense but have struggled at times against the run and in linebacker coverage. Bringing in someone like Logan Wilson could help close that gap instantly. Meanwhile, a trade for Maxx Crosby would be the ultimate statement that Dallas is all in on winning now. However, this kind of move requires sacrifice. The Cowboys' front office has traditionally been cautious during the trade deadline, often preferring to stand pat rather than risk draft capital. But fans are growing tired of the almost seasons. Every year it's the same story: a strong start, a stumble, and an early playoff exit. The question is whether Jerry Jones finally decides that enough is enough and makes the type of aggressive move that alters the franchise's trajectory. Adding to the intrigue, some reports suggest that behind the scenes, Dallas has been exploring other trade targets as well, including interior defensive linemen and veteran wide receivers. There's growing concern about depth behind CeeDee Lamb, with Brandon Cooks not seeing as many targets and Michael Gallup struggling to regain his old form. While no specific names have been confirmed, insiders have floated the idea that the Cowboys could inquire about players like T. Higgins or even Hunter Renfrow if the opportunity arises. On defense, there's interest in solidifying the interior with potential targets like Grover Stewart or Derek Brown if those teams decide to listen. These aren't just rumors pulled from thin air, they're part of a larger picture of Dallas finally recognizing that this is their moment to strike. If we zoom out for a second, what we're really seeing is a team at a crossroads. The Cowboys have one of the most talented rosters in football, but talent alone doesn't guarantee success. They've been humbled in key moments, particularly against top-tier opponents. What the front office is realizing is that leadership, toughness, and physical dominance are what separate good teams from championship ones. Players like Crosby and Wilson embody those qualities. They're relentless, they play with emotion, and they elevate everyone around them. Bringing in that kind of fire could transform the Cowboys from a flashy, highlight reel team into a gritty, battle-tested contender. There's also the locker room factor. According to insiders close to the Cowboys, Micah Parsons has been vocal about wanting more help up front. He's not complaining, but he's honest about the fact that opposing teams are doubling and even triple-teaming him on nearly every snap. Parsons knows that with another elite pass rusher on the opposite side, offenses would have to pick their poison, and that would unleash his full potential. If the Cowboys were to somehow land Maxx Crosby, that would not only take pressure off Parsons but also create opportunities for the rest of the defense to thrive. DeMarcus Lawrence would have more favorable matchups, Osa Odigizua could wreak havoc inside, and the secondary would benefit from faster pressure forcing quarterbacks into bad decisions. So, where do things stand as of now? The Cowboys have reportedly been in internal discussions about potential moves ahead of the trade deadline. Stephen Jones has said publicly that the team is always looking for ways to improve but won't make a move just for the sake of headlines. Still, insiders say Jerry Jones has been restless. He knows this team is close, and he also knows that the NFC is wide open this year. The Eagles look strong but beatable, the 49ers have shown cracks, and no other team has separated themselves completely. If Dallas adds one or two key defensive pieces, they could easily become the most dangerous team in the conference. At the end of the day, a trade for someone like Maxx Crosby might still be a long shot. But the fact that his name, along with Logan Wilson's, is being linked to Dallas shows that this front office is at least exploring the kind of aggressive mindset fans have been demanding for years. And as for Trevon Diggs, while the trade chatter may raise eyebrows, it's more likely a reflection of how much value he carries league-wide than an actual plan to move him. The Cowboys know that elite corners are rare, and Diggs is a game-changer when healthy. What's clear, though, is that the Cowboys brass is evaluating everything and everyone in the pursuit of one goal, a Super Bowl. Cowboys fans, buckle up. The next few weeks could be some of the most fascinating and potentially transformative moments we've seen from this team in years. The front office has the power to turn a playoff contender into a legitimate Super Bowl favorite overnight. Whether they pull the trigger or not will define how we remember this era of Cowboys football. Jerry Jones has always believed in making headlines, but this time, it's not about marketing, it's about legacy. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay up to date with every Cowboys trade rumor, insider report, and breaking news update, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. This story is far from over, and we'll be right here covering every twist and turn along the way.